Welcome back, guys, to our video. So now we are doing 5.2, which says draft the notes of the assets section in the statement of financial position. Says as required in the answer sheet. Okay, I do have the answer sheet on my Excel. So we are required to do note number 1, property, plants, and equipment. And then the second note that we are required to do is the trade and other receivables. Okay, so to attempt these notes, you obviously have to know the format of by heart. Excuse me. So the most important thing is knowing the format. So once you know the format, then it will be easier to slip in the amounts. All right. So obviously we're going to be starting with the property, plants, and equipment note. Okay. So obviously the first thing that we need to calculate is the carrying value. It's the carrying value at the beginning, right? Then how do we get that? We take the cost price. Now we need the cost price at the beginning. We take the cost price and we less accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation. So I think that's how we'll get the cost price. That's how we'll get the carrying value at the beginning. Okay, so you shoot straight to the trial balance, looking at the financial position account section. Obviously, we are going to be looking at equipment and vehicles. So with equipment, it was 157,800. So that is the cost price, 157,800. And then we also have the accumulated depreciation, of which it's 17,800. So it's minus 17,800. Please note every amount that I put as a negative, you are supposed to put as you are supposed to put in brackets. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You're supposed to put them in brackets. Right. Sorry, I'm just fixing. Yeah, looks right. It looks right now. Okay. So this is the cost price at the beginning, and this is the accumulated depreciation at the beginning. Okay, moving to vehicles. With vehicles, let us move here. Okay, this was equipment, meaning this is vehicles. So with vehicles, we have 170,000, and this is not at the beginning, mind you. We had an addition on 1 January for 40,000, meaning the beginning or the opening balance for vehicles was 130,000. So that's how this is the closing balance minus the vehicles that we bought during the year. Okay, let us go and check it out. Here it says, note, a second-hand vehicle, 40,000, was purchased on 31 December 2024, which is why we started counting from 1 January. Okay, so which is why it's 1 January. So for 40,000, so meaning we had 170 closing minus the amount we added, meaning at the beginning we had 130,000. Sorry, I'm not supposed to close this. So for vehicle at the beginning it's 130,000. Now let me check out the accumulated depreciation. For vehicles, it's 85,000. So it's 85,000. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it will be easier now. Now I'm gonna take this and minus that to get the amount at the beginning. Even here, I'll take this minus that. Don't worry, since I'm putting a plus because it's already negative. Yeah, then I get the 45,000. Then here is my total. So you just have to total. Okay, let me just do this. So the totals will come in automatically. So in order for you to total, you take equipment plus vehicle, you get the total. Same here, you take cost price plus cost price to get the total. Same here, you take the accumulated depreciation plus this accumulated depreciation to get the total. Right. So now we are moving to the movements. So what happened during the year? So this is what happened during the year. There was an addition at cost. So these are the movements that you can do: additions at cost. You can also have disposals. Whenever you sell an asset, disposal at carrying value. And then what you can also have is depreciation for the year. Yeah. Okay, then we can just plug them in. Okay, there was no, okay, these are the movements. Okay, so there was no addition to the equipment, so it's going to be 0. Same with vehicles. Okay, there was an addition. Remember, there was 40,000 added 31 December starting from January. So we need to account for that. That's the addition we have. So as I told you, it's going to be adding automatically here. With disposals, there was no disposals. Sorry, let me just align this to the right. Same here, aligned to the, okay, it is aligned to the right here. Depreciation, we've already calculated, guys. You take it from your statement of income or profits or loss. So there's a depreciation. I think 28,000 was for equipment. Let me just confirm. Yes, 28,000 is for equipment, meaning the 22,500 is for 22,500 is for vehicles, right? So what we need to take into account here is that you minus the disposals at net carrying value. You also minus the depreciation, minus 28,000, and it's minus 22,500. So I think this total should be the same as this. Yes, it is the same, so it's correct. Yeah, so that's the depreciation. So now to get carrying value at the end of the year, it's no longer beginning now, it's the end. To get carrying value at the end, you need to take carrying value at the beginning, and you need to plus additions, minus disposals, and minus accumulated or minus depreciation. So that's how you get carrying value at the end. I said you will take your carrying value at beginning, add or plus additions, minus your disposals, minus, don't mind that I put a plus here, it's because it's negative, minus your depreciation, and then you'll get your carrying value at the end. Okay, there's also another way to check if this is correct. How do we do that? Obviously, you take your cost price. So the cost price is still 157,800 here. But now here, the cost price, remember, this is the same here for equipment, but for vehicle it's 170,000. So it's 170,000. For accumulated depreciation now, you take the accumulated depreciation at the beginning, you add the depreciation that you calculated. Same here, you take the accumulated depreciation at the beginning, you add the depreciation that you calculated. So in order for me to check what's and this amount is right, if I take the cost price at the end minus accumulated depreciation, I should get the same amount. So let's just check. Yes, it is the same amount. Even here, yes, it is the same amount. Sorry, it is the same amount. Yeah. So this was just a check, guys. We basically don't need it. So there are two ways of calculating the net carrying value at the end. You can calculate it by taking the net carrying value at the beginning, you add your additions, you less your disposals, and you less your depreciation to get this amount. Or you take your cost price at the end minus your accumulated depreciation. Remember, in order for you to get this accumulated depreciation, you need to take your accumulated depreciation at the beginning plus the depreciation during the year to get this amount. So yeah, that's the way you go about it. So that's exactly how it's done. Right. So this is the amount you put in the statement of financial position. The amounts are just highlighted in bold. Let me make it a bit bigger. Yeah, so this is the amount you put uh, under property, plant, and equipment in the statement of financial position, which is why it's very important for you guys to total these, to actually add this total column or to total these amounts. So as you get this amount. Okay, so I'm sure we are good now. Now we are moving to trade and other receivables. So it's trade and other receivables. All right. So there we are going to have to start with trade receivables control. Trade receivables control. Okay, so how do we get that? Basically, you take your trade receivables from your, yes, as it is from your trial balance, which is 144,800, and then you less your credit losses from the adjustment, which is 4,800. So it's just straightforward, 144,800 minus 4,800. Okay, and then you need to less your allowance for credit losses. The calculated amount, remember, sometimes we'll be asked to adjust, and sometimes you'll be asked to create. Like in this case, they asked us to create, so it's straightforward. You're just going to take the amount we calculated. We're going to get it from the statement of profit or loss. Yes, 11,200. Sometimes they will ask you to adjust. So remember, if you are required to adjust, it could be a profit or a loss. But what you take is the calculated amount. This amount, remember, this amount was calculated. So you will take the calculated amount, not the adjustment, not the adjustment. You take the calculated amount as it is. So it's 11,200. Right. We move, and now we are going to add income receivable. We are going to be adding the income receivable, which is formerly known as accrued income. Income receivable. And remember, I actually I actually labeled that income. Yeah, it's 24,000. It's for rent income. So it's rent income. Okay, let me just write it down. Rent income. And the receivable part is the part we haven't received, or is this, yeah, it's the amount we have not received yet, which is 24,000. We've already received the 24,000, but we are short with 24,000. Remember, we only received for 6 months. So this is still receivable, hence the income receivable is 24,000. We could have more, which is why we could list all the income. Okay, let me just present it in a, yeah. So we could have more income that could be receivable, mm, which is why, okay, sorry, let me just make sure that I put the total here. Yeah, okay. All right. So, as I was saying, there could be more income which is receivable, which is why you list it here, then you put the total here. But in this case, we only have the 24,000. So, yeah, it's all good. Then, now the only thing missing is to take these two, add them to get your trade and other receivables, which is you take this total plus this. So yeah, this is your trade and other receivables, which is the final amount that you're going to be putting on your statement of financial position. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining me in pursuing this question. And yeah, I hope we did learn something, and yeah, I'll improve as my accounting comes back to me. So these videos will also help me bring back my accounting, because I'm so used to computerized accounting, N4 to N6, and taxation. Also, kind of used to accounting N5 and N6, but with N4, it's been a while since I've done it. But yeah, I hope this video was beneficial to you guys. So, till we meet again to do another question, yeah, bye.